He is one of the co-chairs of the World Economic Forum annual meeting this year. It's such a pleasure to have with us Kris Gopalakrishnan, President of CII. Many thanks, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, for talking to us. Every time when we come to Davos, the one question that crosses your mind is Davos really relevant? Is it just a meeting where the rich and famous come, wine and dine, or is there anything we achieve out of this meeting?
Clearly, there is something that people take back. And that's the reason why they come again and again. And what they take back is a meeting of minds.
Right.
See, we need to discuss, debate, understand each other, and hopefully arrive at some common perspective, common framework, common understanding. And that is what Davos allows. I know it's a multi-stakeholder forum, so it's just not business alone, political leaders, civil society, academicians. So everybody comes here and they identify some key issues and then discuss, debate about those issues.
It's great to have an Indian being a co-chair here at the annual meeting. Once again, a reminder that India clearly hasn't fallen off the map just yet. But what is the India mood really in terms of how global leaders are viewing India right now? There was a sense that at least a few years ago that India was clearly not the flavor here at Davos.
See, countries, go out of flavor sometimes.
Right.
Last 2 years, if you look at US, was not heavily represented here because the US was going through a slowdown. This year it's expected that there will be more participation from US. India is always sent a large delegation. This year we have one of the largest delegations in terms of, I think about 120 business leaders, 6 ministers are there.
Right.
Of course, the large media presence here.
Right.
So India always has participated in large numbers. The global leaders want India to succeed. That is why there is a lot of interest in what is happening in India. And in that sense, currently of course the top of mind question is what will the election provide us.
How critical are the political developments for global investors? Are they watching India's political developments very closely right now?
Yes, clearly, because see, right now there is some uncertainty, right? And uncertainty is not good for investment.
Right.
So once the elections are over, there is an expectation that there will be stability and there will be governance.
Right.
So that's what is expected once the elections are over.
But there have been some very dramatic political developments over the last few months, especially the state elections throwing up a stunning debut of the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. What's your sense of the Aam Aadmi Party coming to power in Delhi, and particularly of what's really gone on back home in Delhi over the last couple of days?
So if you look at the theme of Davos, reshaping the global economy, reshaping the world, there are fundamental changes that are happening around the world.
Right.
And to some extent, Aam Aadmi Party's emergence is one of those phenomena.
Right.
It's ordinary people, people in the streets coming together and saying that they would like to contest the elections, they would want to form the government if they win, of course. And it is an interesting phenomenon. In the past also, we have had such movements in different parts of the country, but none had succeeded so spectacularly. And to some extent, social media, technology, the ability to connect people together has played a role. And it will be interesting to see, as they become more mature, as they become more adept at governance, what would they do? And I think that's a good development for India.
You're saying it's a good development for India, but we've seen extreme drama on the streets of Delhi over the last 2 days. Huge confrontation between the government and the Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal. Is that something that necessarily makes the right headlines? And when you're meeting with global leaders here, are there concerns being expressed about what's really happening?
I do not know yet because, today is the first day. But definitely there is interest on the political outcome of the election. That is very clear I've seen that in my discussions prior to the World Economic Forum here. I've seen that. So there is interest. Now, will there be interest in Aam Aadmi Party outside India? I don't know yet.
Okay, they're not talking about it in a big way just yet. But at the same time, what really worries people perhaps is how much of a role will the Aam Aadmi Party play on the national scale. We've seen plenty of corporate leaders and professionals joining the Aam Aadmi Party. A former board member of Infosys, for instance, has joined the party as well. At the same time, the economic policy remains a big question mark. When a party like the Aam Aadmi Party decides to reverse FDI and multi-brand retail in Delhi, do you think it sends out negative signals to the global world about policy instability in India?
Yes and no. See, we have to wait for some time. The reason is that I believe most of the decisions that are being taken now are driven by election.
Okay.
Right? Because we have seen in Maharashtra also there was a cut in the electricity charges. Right.
So a lot of populist moves.
Right. So we have to wait and see in a stable environment what kind of policies would there be. And I think if you look at the last 20 years under different governments, even if you look at the states which are growing at 7-8%, they're all being ruled by different coalition groups.
Right.
And all of them are supporting economic growth, all of them are supporting job creation, all of them are supporting wealth for the people. So I think in a stable environment, we will have support for economic growth, we will have support for reforms, we will have support for foreign direct investment. Of course, which sector, etc., there may be some small differences, but by and large, both the NDA and the UPA supported foreign direct investment.
But the biggest downside risk perhaps will be a very, very fractured verdict which would raise question marks on stability at the political level and which will have repercussions on economic policy making.
Yes, that is definitely a worry. Will the election produce a stable government? To some extent, again, when I look at what has happened in Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party did not have the majority. The Congress supported them to form a government. Right. Even though they oppose each other. So I believe that all the political parties also want some stability. Do not want elections to be happening every 3 months or 6 months. Right. So nobody wants continuous electioneering or elections. So in that sense, I believe we will have stability.
You mentioned earlier saying that the Aam Aadmi Party needs to mature. Is that a sense you're getting, especially given what's happened in the last 3 weeks since they have sort of formed the government in Delhi? Is there concern really that the party needs to get more mature in governing and it needs to move beyond agitations to actually governing rather than simply agitating?
See, how they will govern we cannot say, right? It will evolve. All I'm saying is that a party that is just 6 months old, people have come together only recently and formed the party. It will take time, and it is true for any organization, any group. As soon as they are formed, they will be trying to figure out, what is the style, what is the leadership, how do they govern, what is the agenda, and it is in that context that I said that it will take some time for Aam Aadmi Party to figure out, what are their priorities and how they will govern.
While we're seeing major teething troubles right now, the fact remains that this is a party that has come into power on an anti-corruption plank. And corruption remains a major issue for a country like India. It is something that gets discussed even at global platforms like this, here in Davos, where everybody is talking about increased transparency in governance. Yes. How important has that factor become really for policymakers, for business leaders to ensure that we're seeing increasing transparency in governance?
See, globally, the level of disclosure, the level of transparency, the information that is available with ordinary people, the information that is there in social media has increased. It's just not in India alone, and more and more organizations and leaders are realizing that they have to manage believing that what they do will get disclosed. Right. So in that sense, I think we are living in a world where privacy is coming down, transparency is increasing, the need for disclosures, the need for knowing what really is happening is increasing everywhere around the world.
All right, and let's hope at least that here in Davos, policymakers are able to hard sell the India story once again, a story that has clearly taken a huge beating on the global scale. Many thanks, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, for talking to us.
Thank you
Pleasure
for
to talk
having
to you.
Thank you.
you.